Here we go, onto the Sao Paulo concrete here. Sold out crowd, 52,000 on hand to watch the third IndyCar Series event contested in Sao Paulo. We are green, Mark, and we make the move into turn number one. It's been tricky the last few years.
Looks like Will Power will get there first. It's the first of 11 turns, 2.6 miles the course, 75 laps, and Mike, so far looks pretty clean all the way through the field.
Lots of contact as drivers did in fact get into one another. Certainly the new rear wheel guards have helped eliminate some of the early spins, and it is Will Power out in front. Dario Franchitti in the black, white, and gold livery this weekend is running second. Third is his teammate Scott Dixon. Fourth to Graham Rahal. Mark, as they have now spread out pretty good and gone single file through turn 6.
Looks like in turn 6, EJ Vigio was trying to set up Tony Kanaan for a pass. Dario Franchitti, after falling behind a bit at the start, is right there all over the rear wing of the number 12 machine of Will Power. Scott Dixon, the Target Chip Ganassi teammate, giving chase along with Graham Rahal, then James Hinchcliffe. They're looking for that long straightaway.
This is a 75-lap affair today here on the streets of Sao Paulo, Brazil. Once again, this course, 2.536 miles in length, 11 turns, and Mark, for the first time today, on the longest straightaway they will run on this season. It is 1 mile in length as they make the run between turn 10 and 11.
As long as the oval is at Milwaukee in terms of it being a mile, as you suggest, and plenty of horsepower for Will Power at the exit of that. A hairpin brings them back onto the Samadrome. There is Dario Franchitti, about a car length behind Will Power, 4 car lengths back to Scott Dixon. Now Hitch is going to jump out of line and try to make a pass as they get ready for the series of turns, trying to pull up on Joseph Newgarden.
Yep, so Joseph Newgarden will use his one move to protect his line, and Joseph Newgarden continues to run in front of James Hinchcliffe.
And I'm sure the drivers like that long straightaway.
About that front wing, that's I think that's the third wing they've had to put on that car this weekend, or at least rebuild for Takuma Sato.
Yeah, well, of course they didn't have to replace it; they were simply cranking it in, and it looks like Ryan Hooray in turn number 11. Mark James going to go to the inside and get it.
He needs to be aware of his line side as well as him. So going to the bottom of the racetrack now, they'll start the drag down the drag races and go down the front straightaway. But Ryan Hooray, but it's really too much of that for his teammate right now. He will grab that spot. The 7th position. Hitch needs to be careful because his mirrors are coming to the number 2 machine of Ryan Briscoe.
Problem on course for Catherine Legg at the Itapava Sao Paulo Indy 300. Listening to it live on IndyCar Radio. Catherine Legg remains on course, but Mark James, plenty of damage to the left rear and radio on the IMS network. We've got a problem with the 2 of Ryan Briscoe. Briscoe is in the wall at the same time as teammate. Will Power will make his approach to his pit stall. So a problem for Ryan Briscoe as Briscoe has made heavy contact. It will bring out a yellow. The 12 car is in. We will keep an eye on the pit stop. We'll update you on Ryan Briscoe momentarily. The Verizon crew servicing the 12 car. Good stop there, as it looks like will beat out the 78 of Simonidi Silvestro, but Mark James, heavy damage to the Hitachi sponsored number 2 car of Briscoe. We're just now getting a look at the replay.
Ryan Briscoe gets in front of Graham Rahal, gets in just a little too hot, tries to hang on, hits a little wet spot, looked like right there at the apex of the turn, Mike, and at that point he was a spectator along for the ride, and that's not the type of damage that can be repaired.
The yellow flag is out off of turn number 11, side by side, the 18 to the inside of the 12. And they will funnel now onto the Samadrome straightaway. And Mark, we're ready to go back to green flag racing. We're green once again in Sao Paulo.
And the 18 machine is 5 laps down. Going to give some room to Dario Franchitti to the bottom side, but Dario gets spotted. Dario Franchitti up and over the tire barrier. Graham Rahal, Joseph Newgarden, Mike Conway, the 77 machine of Pagano all have to cut through the runoff area. And Dario Franchitti, I hope I did not jinx it, Mike. I said he had to have a podium finish today. He is sitting dead stick in the runoff area.
We saw Dario Dario's car get up and over the curbing, and there could be some damage to that race car.
Yeah, I would be surprised if there's not. Some other minor contact on drivers and cars back in the field, but Mike, they really started to scatter. And Scott Dixon with really some erratic movements, Mike, as they come down the straightaway. He went low then high, then low then high. He narrowly missed one of the tire barriers himself. And boy, I'll tell you what, a mess unfolded into turn number one. You see Graham Rahal late on the binders, Conway late on the binders. Conway got hit from behind by, it looked like maybe Elio Castroneves or Ryan Hunter-Reay, but the car did get about a foot and a half off the ground or so. The rear of the car went up over that pronounced curbing, and he was going the wrong way into the driver runoff area. And for Ryan Hunter-Reay to have a good restart he did last time, was able to move from the top 5 into the second position. Dixon, Elio was there. Elio Castroneves plus 14 on the day.
Yep, great run for Elio into turn number 1. There's Tony Kanaan. He's going to pop to the inside, try a bonsai move. He and Rubens Barrichello nearly touched Barrichello off the track momentarily, Mark, but he's back on and he's safe. But Kanaan's going to get past him. Okay, so it was turn 3 where Joseph Newgarden, Mark, it looks like spun, coming off the curb to the inside. So as we now get a view of the replay, and he got some help from the 78 of Simone Di Silvestro, who managed to drive through this. Green flag is out, and we're racing once again in Sao Paulo.
Ryan Hunter-Reay has been fast, and that is the car of Scott Dixon, who stepped out, thought about going 3 wide, but now he'll go side by side with Tony Kanaan. TK lets him slip by as Ryan Hunter-Reay now tries to track down the leader, Will Power, as they work their way through the 2, 3, 4 portion of the race.
Well, I tell you what, Tony Kanaan, Mark, right now is looking pretty racy, but I think he made a good decision there letting Scott Dixon go. Will Power on pit lane for the final time this afternoon here in Sao Paulo, Brazil, and he's being followed by the driver who's trying to catch him, Ryan Hunter-Reay. So the 2 leaders peel off the track with 51 of 75 laps complete. They're pitted nose to tail, right behind one another. Will Power in front of Ryan Hunter-Reay. The 12 Verizon car, it looks like will pull away first. A great stop for Team Penske. And here comes Ryan Hunter-Reay in the DHL Sundrop car. The Mark, you couldn't ask for better than that. Team Penske gave Will Power will look to be about a 6.5, maybe a 7-second stop.
And most importantly, Scott Dixon comes out and slips in between Will Power and the car of Ryan Hunter-Reay. So move Dixon to second. And Mike, I would think that as these teams often do, when they videotape their pit stops, I think that's one they'll use the videotape on and say, this is the one you need to take a look at in terms of doing it. But Mike, Dixon's got all kinds of momentum. He's right there nose to tail with the number 12 machine.
Yeah, he's going to probably look to the inside. Here he comes, a race for the lead, side by side. Going to turn number 11 as we're working lap 52, making 53. And Scott Dixon, Mark, for the first time today, we've got a lead change here in Sao Paulo, Brazil.
51 laps Will Power led, and now Scott Dixon takes over the point.
Be Will Power and Ryan Hunter-Reay seeing the green flag through the Sambodrome in waves. They will race each other hard into turn number 1. Lots of racing behind them. Here comes Sato to the inside. He's going to pick up third. Mark, a great race through 1.
Elio got bumped by Hinchcliffe as we see cars lining up behind him. Marco Andretti, Graham Rahal, the 77 of Pagano. It looks like Anna Beatrice, Mike, has got Dixon involved in that. Tony Kanaan is involved. And
they're watching Mark on our video replay screens as the cars go through. We're on board with Simon Pagano. It looked like it all started with Mike Conway up in front. He was to the outside. And let's wait and see. Yeah. And Sari. 71 will be complete at the line of the 75 that make up this race. The 2 leaders will come off of turn 11 over the concrete of the Sambodrome side by side. Ryan Hunter-Reay and Will Power mark their race in the turn 1 side by side. Who's going to get first?
Power looks like he has the advantage, and driver's left. The 3rd spot's going to belong to Takuma Sato. It looks like Elio Castroneves slipped in front of Dario Franchitti. He will grab that 1st spot.
So working lap 72, Will Power and Ryan Hunter-Reay mark winning there side by side. And really, at that point, it's a game of chicken, it seems like, heading into turn number 1.
Ryan Hunter-Reay right there with Will Power, although Power starts to pull away by about a car length or 2. And Mike, the front 4 have separated themselves as James Hinchcliffe looks like he wants that 5th spot. He's working on Dario Franchitti.
The white flag is out. Paul Blevin will wave it over the field as Will Power negotiates Mark turn 1 for the final time today.
Will Power has been dominant all day long, starting on pole yet again. Ryan Hunter Hunter Ray has been stout. Been a long day for Takuma Sato, Elio Castro-Neves, Dario Franchitti. Mike, they've been involved in their share of melees today, but they have persevered along with their guys that go over the wall for them. It's going to be a celebratory move, I think, for the top 5 today especially. Good run by Hinchcliffe, good run by Hildebrand. Charlie Kimball had issues early. E.J. Vizo and Barrichello, your top 10, but clearly Will Power, the class of the field at Sao Paulo for the 3rd consecutive year.
Takuma Sato, what looks like, is on his way to his first podium finish in the IndyCar Series. Takuma was so good here a year ago, remember, in the wet as he wound up 8th. But Takuma Sato today, not quite enough for our leader Will Power, or for second place Ryan Hunter-Reay, but a good race for him nonetheless.
Power, Hunter-Reay, Sato down that long 1 mile back straightaway. They see the final turn come into view. Will Power will hit his marks as he has done so perfectly all day long. He climbs on the binders, and Mike, he'll come on to the Salvador straightaway, leading Ryan Hunter-Reay.
Here comes Will Power, and make it a 3-peat for Will Power on the streets of Sao Paulo, Brazil, and that's 3 in a row in 2012 as the Verizon Wireless cars. The winner once again is Power, finishing about 10 car lengths in front of Brian Hunter-Reay. Top 2, Takuma Sato has Japan on the podium in the IndyCar Series. Elio Castro-Neves is the top finishing Brazilian driver as he comes home in 4th place. Dario Franchitti. Boy, what a great effort by this guy today as he races home to 5th.